Right. Hello. How is everybody doing? How's life? How's the universe? How has your, apologies, 2 weeks been? What has everybody been up to? Um, I apologize for last week's interlude. The polite way to say it is I wasn't well. uh, for a variety of reasons. Um, yeah. I hope everyone is doing at least a bit better than me this week. Um, yeah. How is everybody doing? Yes, I know I'm streaming. Yes, I know I'm streaming. And yes, I know I'm streaming. Thank you. I get a lot of notifications. Hello, John. How you doing on these things? Imagine that, indeed. How you doing? How has your 2 weeks been? Those things. StreamYard OBS. StreamYard yeah, OBS was just offering me a Star Trek Fleet Commander sponsorship or whatever. I'm good. I built a small HTPC with parts that I mostly found in the scrap. Nice. Good to see. Thinking about making a small home NAS, upgrading the existing one. I mean, NASs are great. I highly recommend people have a NAS. Building your own one is, I think, even better, especially from like cheap and scrap parts. You do often trade off like power consumption. Although I made the trade off in a kind of, I would say bold, but the real answer is stupid way. Because my home NAS, at least the first one, was 24 Threadripper. Not the most power efficient thing. So yeah. And then I have I think it's an i5 10400F as my personal NAS. The case is the problem. I'm torn between the John's Boat N4 and a weird one on AliExpress, the Sagittarius 8. Fair enough. I mean, those are pretty small form factor, right? Oh no, that is an 8-bay NAS. Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, it'd be great if they could show me some more like internal pictures. It was like 240p. Come on. Well, from the 3 pixels that I can see, looks really cool. Thin 0.8mm steel. Fair enough. And yeah, MACX is pretty sweet. Yeah. What's that? Right. HTPC is a 10400 with a small Chief-Tech MACX/SFX PSU tower. Nice. Awesome. How have I been? Not great. Apologies for having to take last week off. Also hello-ish. I wasn't I wasn't up to it, let's say. And yeah, I didn't really fancy sitting here for an hour in uh, all the types of pain. um, so yeah, uh, I've been in a lot of physical pain, and uh, I mean the long story short is really depressed, but I'm not entirely sure why. A lot of the time I have some idea, but I mean I don't know whether it's just like being in so much pain um is what do you call it like wearing me down or not. I don't know, but yeah, I'm a touch better this week. Hello Simon. How do you man? How's things? Uh, John's Bone 4 looks awesome. The problem would be need to buy an SFX PSU and SATA power splitters, also half height PCIe cards. So annoying, but it looks nice. Yeah, I would. ITX and like small form factor builds look really cool until you have to actually build in them or use them. So I don't bother. Um, sorry about the pain, probably not as much as yours, but I can relate. Last week or so has been terrible with the pain. Fair, well, I hope that it eases for you, as I sure hope it does for me. Actually, something really funny. My friend showed me a GitHub Copilot, which is not the same as Microsoft Copilot, but it is, but it isn't. Anyway, it really annoys me that they've named them both the same thing. Anyway, uh, GitHub Copilot, especially if you can have, if you do the first tier paid membership, the free 30-day trial, you can use GPT-5, which actually makes a hell of a lot of difference because you can ask it to build you a website, like an XJS website from scratch, with like you just tell it like what you want it to roughly do. Maybe you give it an image of what you want the page to maybe look like, you know, and then it will make you an entire website with functioning stuff. Like it's pretty incredible. Like I my friend is making let's call it a fitness device, and he asked it to make it a sort of the marketing page, like the landing page. If you look up this thing, this is the page you'll get to, um to help you sort of sell you on the idea of this device. It came up with very specific metrics that are actually useful. Like, you really don't need to do much to that website to make it a usable thing. It came up with a subscription pricing model, which is actually pretty spot on. And the prompt was literally like a single paragraph of like, please make me a Next.js marketing website with light mode and dark mode that for this fitness tracker that does this specific thing. That was basically it. And it gave a multi-page website with like great styling. The light mode and dark mode didn't work quite right, but then you just say the light mode doesn't work, can you fix it? And then it does, you just update the files, and hey presto, you've got like it's ridiculous. And worryingly good. So the response times website that I've been trying to make for what 2 years now, that I've just not had the time or energy to do, especially because you've got to do it all from scratch. Um, yeah, that that's almost done being made with like five, chat messages to GPT-5 through Copilot. Um, and like the back end, the API side, um, you just yeah, uh, that's probably a couple of messages as well, and that wow, so yeah, kind of incredible. N4 still fits MTX, but I don't know, a weird combo of 6 3.5 and 2 2.5 drives, and only 4x are with the backplane hot plug. Yeah, the backplane is a really cool, if not necessarily super useful part of a NAS, in the sense that, like, especially for a home NAS, you don't swap out the drives very much. So having a backplane to just click your drives into doesn't matter all that much. In theory, if the backplane has uh a SATA splitter essentially built in, so that you only need um less SATA ports, essentially a multiplexer built in, then that would be good. That'd be beneficial. Or a direct PCIe connection, actually, with an HBM card essentially built into it. That'd be cool. But yeah, fair. On reflection, also, hello, be right. Thanks for dropping in. On reflection, maybe Microsoft's name for this vaporware in usefulness terms is appropriate. Microsoft's Copilot describes most customer experiences. That's great. Well, see, the funny thing is that GitHub Copilot is actually really useful. Microsoft Copilot isn't. No, I mean, like, I am genuinely impressed with how, from such little text, you can get from 0 to 80%, right? Like, you can get what would have been, I don't know, a few $100s in, like, templates for stuff that you still would have to spend a lot of time messing with. This is, hey, can you make this thing? And then it does. Like, you still need to know, how to code, all this sort of stuff, to make it work, to make it actually functional, to fix the bugs that it still does produce. But it's scary. A backplane is super useful on my NAS, so I can swap out the data drives and take them off-site, work locker. I just need to remember to rotate more often. Fair enough. I mean, the downside of what you call it? The downside of cold storage is bit rot is a bitch. Whereas in theory, if it's hot storage, you can at least have it run integrity and parity checks. Like, Unraid does parity checks. I think by default it's once a week. I set it to once a month because it gets really annoying because it's still going on Monday morning when I need to be, like, using it and editing. But yeah. Which is the Copilot that data mines all user data in Windows for their telemetry? Yeah, that's Windows Recall, which was part of Microsoft Copilot. GitHub Copilot is weirdly, GitHub Copilot is basically just like a front end for all of the other models. Like, when you go on GitHub Copilot, especially on the website, like, you are where is it? You have the choice of what model responds. So the model options, at least for the mid pricing tier, like the $10 a month pricing tier, are GPT-5 Mini, O3 Mini, Gemini 2.0 Flash, O4 Mini, GPT 4.1, 5, and 4.0, and then Claude Sonnet 3.5, 3.74, Claude Sonnet 3.7 Thinking, and Gemini 2.5 Pro. None of these say GitHub. So, like, GitHub Copilot really is just a front end for the other models, except it's one of the cheapest and easiest ways to get access to a lot of the other models. So, anyway, opinions on RAID Z1 as opposed to RAID Z2, kind of thinking I don't really need 2x redundancy for my mostly media storage. We'll have a small secondary pool for another copy of important files, e.g. 3 times 1 terabyte RAID Z1. Um, I so for my backup NAS, for example, I use RAID Z1. It's ZFS RAID Z1. Um, what you call it? Come on, brain. Yeah, RAID Z1. Right. Whereas on my main NAS, I use RAID Z2. It also depends on how many drives you have, because 4 drives basically only ever do RAID Z1 or RAID 5, depending on what model it is. Because that's a lot of storage you're giving away for redundancy, and you may as well use RAID 10 if you're just going to do that. But come on, brain. My brain shut down. It depends on how many drives and the security of the data. I have 6 drives in my main overkill NAS, like my work NAS, and so that's RAID 6. That's 2 parity drives, or RAID Z2. Whereas, like I said, my offsite NAS, which is my backup for my main work NAS, that's RAID Z1. That is ZFS, and that's true NAS. And my personal NAS, which is also true NAS and therefore actually ZFS, is RAID Z1 because I don't really care about the data that's on that too badly. And again, there's only 4 drives in there, so I'd be losing a lot of data storage capacity. I was thinking 4x4 terabyte with RAID Z1. I mean, fair enough. It depends very much on how much you're willing to spend. I would be inclined to go for fewer but larger drives. So like 3 8 TB and use RAID Z1. Because you end up with more storage for possibly similar money, but then you leave space for more drives in the future. One 4 TB is €110. I haven't. Well, I know what really like 18 terabyte drives are, but I don't know what like 4 and 8 terabyte drives are. If you want a NAS drive, an Iron Wolf is £93, so about the same amount of money for a 4 TB. 8 TB is 168. There's a bit less than half, but yeah. Yeah. Hello, Chris. How you doing, man? How's things? Good to see you. Had fun last night at the supermarket. Used a card to pay. Declined. I have heaps in there. Spoke to the bank. Card ID. Card block ID theft. Great. Now I have to go to the bank with the ID. Luckily, I had cash. Nice. I am fortunate to not yet have had my identity stolen, but in this information age, it's only a matter of time. And Ish, are you paying for the discount by running all the data through Microsoft to help train their staff? Sort of yes and no. So Microsoft owns GitHub, if you didn't know, and me and our programmer like circle of friends are all pretty sure that despite Microsoft not like claiming they didn't, we're all pretty sure that they did in fact train what would be, or give OpenAI, who's their sort of sister company to a degree, access to the private GitHub repositories. So I'm pretty sure that all the code I've ever written, at least that's on GitHub anyway, has already gone into training GPT-4, well, 3, 4, 5, 01, 0, whatever. So that ship has already sailed. Second, whatever it produces, I don't really care that Microsoft might use what it produces to train its own stuff, because again, it produced it. Like, so far with the response times website, I have written no code, and it's a functioning website. I need to hook in a back end to it, which I'm gonna get it to write. But like, it, I've not written anything yet, and then when I do, as I said, I'm pretty sure they already used that to train anyway. So I'm not happy that they do it, or that I think they do it, but I've accepted my fate. Hello, Simon S63. How you doing? How's things? How's things? Mixed. Mixed. Mostly not great, actually. Managed to fix my mate's Dell R510 server, 1366 socket today. No idea what was wrong with it, wouldn't power on at all, but after removing the CPUs and RAM, putting it back one by one, it worked. Nice. That's always kind of the way, isn't it? Yeah. To maybe get 4x4 with RAID Z2. For those 4 drives, I wouldn't. I would go Z1 personally. Chris, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Yeah. Simon, fair play. I hadn't I as someone who has never been to a festival, the notion of festival season kind of slips my mind a bit, funnily enough. And yeah, John, I would. Oh, you said and leave a spot for adding one more 4 TB drive. I've heard that if I switch to scale from core, they just implemented pool expansion. First of all, I do highly recommend scale. It has much better app support. I think, was it jails before? In core, basically, TrueNAS scale is just Linux with extra steps and ZFS, and so it works great. Both my offsite NAS and my personal NAS are both TrueNAS scale, and to be honest, I haven't looked back from core. I used to use core. In fact, my personal NAS was core. In fact, it was a bit weird. It was ESXi, VMware ESXi, running on the bare metal, and then it would be what you call it? One was FreeNAS at the time, then TrueNAS Core, and the other was Ubuntu, a straight Ubuntu VM. Oh, festival season is end of June up to last weekend. Nice, got it. What a horrible time to be doing festivals. It's so hot. You tell that I'm terminally inside. You guys seem to think I know how to use it properly with apps and stuff. I mean, fair enough, but TrueNAS Scale makes it a lot easier to use apps and stuff. It's a couple of clicks rather than, let's say, a bit more effort to do it on core. Yeah, I do recommend TrueNAS Scale. It is my go-to easy NAS server OS. I mean, server OS, if you just want server, use Debian or something, but if you want network storage and stuff like that. TrueNAS is great. I'm using 4 Kioxa CM7 15 terabyte drives on my NAS. Those are PCIe SSDs, if you didn't know. Just don't like the price of the drives. Approximately 20,000 Australian dollars per drive new. I got mine secondhand for a bit less. Well, a lot less. Nice. I'm glad it was a lot less because, Jesus, that's a lot of money. Give me an example that would benefit me. I use it to back up my files manually and watch VLC on another PC, personal or HD PC. Well, the go-to, I would say, couple of options for having a NAS with running some stuff on it would be Plex or Jellyfin. So instead of needing to open up files and like browse just file names, you have a really nice dashboard you can access from, especially Plex, anywhere. I think Jellyfin you can set up port forwarding and then access it anywhere. And then you have thumbnails, you have subtitles, you have like everything all there. It can track how many times you've watched something, what you've recently watched versus not watched. It can track what episode of TV show you're watching, which is really handy for watching seasons. It will just play them back to back. Jellyfin can be accessed anywhere. Awesome. I have installed Jellyfin and technically set it up, but Plex then started working again, so I went back to using that. But yeah, so Plex or Jellyfin for media, Pi-hole for ad blocking. It's just amazing. You can also then use it for WireGuard for setting up a VPN so that you can access your home network and have that blocking whenever. And also stuff like Home Assistant. I've actually just finished building, like writing a video and filming a video about the stuff that I use with Home, like my favorite stuff to use with Home Assistant, because it is amazing. I cannot imagine having a home without it. It is fantastic. Well, the size of your home doesn't matter that much. It's like having even just one smart light bulb that changes color throughout the day and changes the color temperature and brightness throughout the day can make your house feel really like, bright and energetic in the morning with a cool and bright light, and then in the evening it dims the temperature, it makes it cooler. There's lots of little things that you can do to make your home like nice and better. But if you don't want it, fair enough. Doesn't online access to your personal NAS require a paid service? No, that's called WireGuard. It's free and you can run it on the NAS itself. Like, I can access both of my... Well, in fact, I can actually access my whole home network from anywhere in the world thanks to WireGuard. From my phone, from my laptop, and if I create a new profile from any computer I want. So yeah, you can access your home network from anywhere, which is fantastic. I prefer folder browsing. VLC mostly gets subtitles. I know what I have because I put it there and organized it. I think it might be a generational thing. Gen Z avoiding folder diving. Well, I mean, I occasionally do folder dive as well when Plex stops working. Which is mostly a me problem, but still. But, like, when you're watching a TV show with, like... So I just finished rewatching The Rookie, because it's kind of fun, lighthearted, but still engaging enough for me. And that show has currently 7 seasons. Just to be able to remember what, like... come on, brain. What episode I have finished watching gets a bit annoying. So being able to essentially have it autoplay, keep track. You can also use them to search for subtitles. Um, which includes different languages, which is pretty sweet. Um, yeah. Thank you, Chris. um, Tailscale can be an easy way to set up WireGuard tunnels if there's a plugin for it. Yeah, I mean, for me, WireGuard, especially ones that have a bit of a UI, Unraid has a great one, which is what I use for WireGuard. But even if not, WireGuard is basically just a configuration file away from working. There's a few like you need to do like create an encryption key, public and private key. But again, if the something like TrueNAS has a UI for it, like for example in Unraid, it's one click for me to create a new client. You know? And then it's done. And then I just scan the QR code on my phone, and now my phone's connected to my WireGuard network. Ta-da! Isn't Unraid Docker stuff with the UI? Well, here's the secret. All of them are. There's a slight catch of like, you know, someone like QNAP or ASUS or Synology. I can't say this for sure, but I'm pretty sure that they just use Docker in the back end. They just use a like one click, like they put a bit of work into creating essentially a default setup for what they know their operating system looks like, so that when you click install in their app store, it just downloads the Docker image, but presets it up for you automatically so that it just starts running, you know? TrueNAS works in VM. Yes, you do need to do stuff like pass in the hard drives directly. And it's much better if it's a level. I can never remember which way round it is, level 1 or level 2 hypervisor. The lower level hypervisor like ESXi or Proxmox, I think. Yeah. But yes, I ran TrueNAS or FreeNAS back in the day on yes, TrueNAS Scale is basically just Linux, so it can be a hypervisor, but you can also run TrueNAS Scale inside a level 1 hypervisor, so something like ESXi or I think Proxmox. WireGuard is the one thing I didn't get set up properly in my NAS before moving out, but I did get the thing sorted that automatically changes the public IP address that links to my URL. Dynamic DNS, yeah. Was it Duck DNS by any chance? But yeah. I like the rookie. The brunette chick was cool. Lucy or Bailey? Like Nolan's wife or the other rookie? Cloudflare, I think, sorted it. And by sorted it, I mean my mate did it, but a domain name. Ah. Bailey is John's wife from season 5 onwards. Lucy Chen is the female rookie from season 1. Oh yeah, I have Tool. It's not. I'll just show you. So you've seen the the motor on the linear actuator. This is the attachment mechanism that I made. Basically, the load cell will go on this bit, and this slides in, and there'll be a pin that goes through there to lock it, so that as this moves down, the load cell's on here. There's a little fork that pushes down on the keyboard. But the really fun thing is that the PCBs arrived, and these are sick. So this is a custom shape with micro switches. These are basically just mouse switches, and they have a really satisfying click. I need to talk so that you can actually hear them. But yeah, satisfying click. And the reason they're on here is because this actually goes on the back of the enclosure to act as limit switches. So there'll actually be a little arm that comes down there. So as this bit moves along, it will run and click the switch to say that it's at the limit. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that, and that just sits on the back. There's a case that goes around it that sort of protects it, obviously lifts it away from the back a little bit, all that jazz. But yeah, and the reason why this is detachable is that I want you to be able to turn this on its side on your desk, and then use this for mouse testing. So there'll be a different adapter that goes in there that will then let you move the mouse around, so that you can do sensor testing as well. But I really need, like, my 3D printer is having a bit of a fit. Everything that prints is warped and sort of crooked. Like, this is meant to be a perfect square. Like, in the model, this is a perfect square. I think you can see how much it's sort of curved, and only 2 of the holes line up. And like, this is meant to be a perfect line as well, but I don't know if you can see that, but it cocks over to the left, and it curls up here as well. In fact, it curls at the bottom too. It is a resin printer, yeah. It's the Elegoo Mars 5 Ultra, and I've even replaced the FEP film, the release film at the bottom, and it still fails. I don't know whether this is, I might be using the wrong settings for this resin. So I'm going to swap back to the grey rapid resin that the printer came with to see if that helps. But yeah. Back there. Hello, Ab. How you doing, man? How's things? Ryzen, how's sheep? I assume you're referencing the spam comment. I wouldn't recommend you go and find out. I'm sure it will hack your account if you try. I was only able to run the server for about 2 months before having to move out. Fair enough. Not too bad. Need to book some holiday. Fair. Joys of being self-employed is I don't really have that luxury. Finally ditched Virgin Media, which is nice though. Nice. Who did you convert to? I'm about 1 hour short of available annual leave to book off holiday and Christmas week. So close. Nice one-ish. Using a 5G router. Perks of being the 4th floor with line of sight in a cell tower. Gigabit down, 500 up, £18 a month. Can't complain. Fair enough. What's the latency and usage limits like? Because especially back in the we only have VDSL days, you know, 3 and 4G sounded really, really tempting, but the problem was always usage limits. You know, even if it was unlimited data, it was still, what you call it, actually limited to 10 or 20 gig before they'd really, really cut the speed down. Yeah. Which is also really annoying because they like the network providers don't get billed per total data used. They get billed on bandwidth. But anyway. It's 4x4 MIMO 5G modem, so 20 milliseconds. It's 3, so generally 1 terabyte plus before they might speak to you. I mean, fair enough. That's great. Yeah, fair. Yeah, I can't really complain. I mean, I don't know how much, does my... I think my router might... No, not 120. I genuinely have no idea how much data I use. Like, you know, download, upload, whatever. On a monthly basis, and I think maybe my is that what? Okay. Wow. Okay. So turns out I use quite a lot of data. I don't know how. Take a guess. Right. So we're only on the fourth the we're on the 4th day of this week, right? Sorry, the 4th day of this month. Just take a rough guess of how much data I have downloaded and uploaded separately this current week in gigabytes. Just take a guess. And to be clear, I don't know how this happened. So Simon, my internet usage is 16 to 18 terabyte a month per average. Okay. I reckon you downloaded 400 gigs. So only about a third of that, 132 gig down, 21 gig up. Now, if you take that data, which is 4 days worth, now extrapolate that to a month, and it tells me how much for the previous month. It's in terabytes, both of them, up and down. Take a guess at terabytes down and up. Just ballpark it. Is this what happens when you get gigabit internet? You just happen to download everything under the sun? And bearing in mind that the only thing that I've like consciously downloaded is like updates and stuff. You know, like game updates and that sort of thing. So it's much more and half of that. So it's only 2 terabytes up. Sorry. Wait, no, hold on. That's the wrong way around. It says 2 terabytes down, 22 terabytes up. What was I doing last month? I I'm confused. Those are some great suggestions. Um, well, now I'm very confused. What's even more impressive is that I only have 100 meg up. I have 900 down, 100 up. Um, and so to have sent 22.2 terabytes of data up, that's basically the entire time. Like, what? How? So that's 22,200 seconds. Oh, that's only 370 minutes. Or 6 hours. Damn. Yes, it's the backups. That's it. It's all my data. That's right. Yeah. Um that's weekly backups to my offsite NAS. Thank you for helping crowdsource the explanation of what's using all that fucking data. Yeah, because I generate. Well, I don't generate a terabyte or 22 terabytes of data. And you know, from making videos every month. But it's a good 100 gig or so. Um, like where's my projects? So like a recent Nash review that I did is 13 gig worth of data. Uh, the Intel video was 14.6. Keyboard review you're gonna see is 15. So it's about 15 or so gig per video, give or take. Yeah. Uh, been there, got an angry call while migrating my stuff from Google Cloud to AWS Glacier. Fair. Um, yeah, I was thinking like when I was considering my offsite NAS build, I was considering using AWS Glacier, uh, or one of the real slow but real low cost cloud storage solutions. But the problem is for the amount of data that I was storing, I was going to be paying, I think it was like $50 to $100 a month, which is quite a lot of money per month. And then you add in if I ever need the backup, like if I ever need to get the data back out, it's going to be $1,000 just to get the data out. And that feels like holding the data hostage rather than being useful. So, yeah. And also, like with my offset NAS, it's, I don't know, 2.5, 3 hours from here. So, like, even if I did need the data again immediately, like, my NAS failed, I managed to buy some drives, I don't know, locally to rebuild it or something. And then I wanted to fill it back in. That is, I could just drive, get the backup now, like get the offsite NAS and bring it back here and start copying the data probably faster than I can actually just transfer it online. So yeah. I paid like $300 a month for just 3 months of NVR footage. Jesus, that's a lot. Oh god, that's why I mean beyond the privacy and data security perspective, like just the outright cost of hosting stuff yourself makes so much more sense. from a cost perspective. Like, I don't have ongoing costs besides a slightly higher electricity bill, I guess. Apologies for the loud motorcycle going by. I just buy some drives, use some old hardware, and hey presto, I've got a working NAS that can, you know, back up everything for me, no problem. One gig of looking stuff up on the net. Yeah. Yeah, I assume the 2 terabytes of data that I downloaded, most of that is YouTube videos. Which is a hell of a lot of videos now that I think about it. There's probably a couple hundred gig game downloads and like updates actually. But yeah. Backblaze for $10 a month, unlimited backup for domestic. Just had to configure both my NASs as one. Yeah, I did think about Backblaze's personal solution, but I didn't fancy essentially trying to trick the system for what is a backup of my business data. Didn't really fancy that. Hello, Jim. How you doing, man? How's things? I had to do it because I needed the evidence. Someone was dropping a dead rat in front of the apartment I inherited. What world we live in? Fair enough. In the past month, I've used over 64 gig of Wi-Fi data just on my phone. I have no idea how much Wi-Fi data I've used on mine. Probably quite a bit, but also not a lot because I do just sit on my what you call it? Desktop a lot. I have my Wi-Fi data usage. 13.5 gig this month. 77 gig last month. There you go. What did you say, Chris? Last month? Yeah. Yeah, in August I used 77 gig of phone data on Wi-Fi. So there you go. Most of that is YouTube, yeah. YouTube, Spotify, WireGuard. WireGuard's just transmitting data. Either sending or receiving, but still. There was a snake one time and a person twice. Interesting. I know real life TM getting in the way. Totally understand. There's some weird people going around with lots of time in their hands these days. There is. There is indeed. Not me. A snake. What are you, in Australia? No, in the other place that has lots of snakes. Had over 11 gig on Facebook. I guess I need to cut down the marketplace shitbox addiction. Well, to be fair, I have also been on marketplace recently because I've been looking at bikes. More bikes. Getting itchy. I knew this would happen. I didn't think it would happen this quickly. E-coverage in my area is so good I can only use my phone at home, the Wi-Fi, through Wi-Fi and my wired broadband. Fair enough. I switched from O2 Virgin Media to EE and it's much better in my area. Fair. I use giffgaff, which is O2. Macaroni, indeed, yes. Kawasaki versus 650, I think, is what's taking my itch the most. Is Smarty the one that doesn't have Net neutrality. Is Smarty the one that gives you free social media that doesn't count to your data cap? Oh, I'm thinking of Voxy. Right. Sorry. Random name? Hard to tell. It's few with unlimited tethering. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Voxy is the one that doesn't have net neutrality because it gives you free social media that doesn't count to your usage, but that means that other stuff can count more towards your usage, um, which is bad. It's always presented as a benefit, but the consequences of the benefit can potentially, although not currently, outweigh the benefits. And that too essentially incentivizes you to use social media, which is a mixed bag. As someone who's currently live streaming on social media, I'm not a hypocrite at all. Exactly ish. And it also establishes the dominant players in the field because I'm sure that what counts as social media is an approved list of sites. So up and coming sites or, niche sites or ones that don't pay the protection money, those all don't qualify and do count towards your usage, but the ones who do pay the protection money, don't. Yeah. Which would technically, Resin, would technically mean any website that has a comment section, which is basically every website. No. And if I would, it would just be a Mastodon site. Snapchat, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Facebook Messenger. Yeah, so Signal, even Telegram, Mastodon, Blue Sky, none of those count. Interesting. I love that many places haven't updated Twitter either. Dating sites. Yeah, where's Tinder and Grinder? Come on. And what? Hinge? Bumble? These are words that I know. Something about a fish? I don't know. No, or not. At life. Although, isn't the irony of most of those websites is that they don't, in fact, have plenty of them? Or if they are, they're bots. I'm fortunate to never have needed to use any of those sites or apps, but yeah. Yeah, Sausage Party is the the theme that I've understood as the context of all of those places. Everyone's fishing for men. Dearie me. I'm glad I never had to use those apps. I met my wife in a nightclub drunk like a normal person. Mine was at college. Sat next to each other in maths. And we're so bored that we got to know each other. Oh. That's no fun. That's not shown up in my actual YouTube chat, tell me. But, yeah. Fair play-ish. Interesting profiling. I've used them, they're awful. So many people with the personality of a bit of cardboard. Well, I think it does tend to reduce people to baseline stats. You know, height, weight, build, career, like a handful of interests, a couple of pictures, you know? Yeah. I'm sure there's some meaningful discussion to be had there, but we have 2 minutes and I'm not interested. Again, as someone who's fortunate to not having had to use them, well, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care. Oh, I'm gonna have a PC, like, game server system giveaway soon, in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. £700, like, game hosting server build guide and setup and giveaway. Thank you. Thanks to the wonderful Cube Coders and their AMP game server. Game server hosting software? Yeah. Most people on the platform are there because they don't have a chance in real life old school dating. I lost my hairline not long ago, so I'm not on any markets. £700, so it's 7700X, 64 gigs of RAM, I think. 2TB SSD. Obviously iGPU, but room for some hard drives, room for more storage, room for a graphics card if you want to do, you know, other stuff on the side, but 8 cores, so you can run plenty of game servers, no problem. Yeah. Anyway, we're back to the usual schedule, both for streams, if I'm not dead next week, and for videos. So there'll be a video tomorrow, video Monday, and hopefully, if I'm not dead, a stream next week. Right. Thank you, Jim. I haven't seen the Radeon figures. Please be quick. What is it, good or bad? I assume it's bad. Please don't be dead. I try. I really do try. I try so hard. Right. Very bad. Yeah, I kind of thought so. Right, I will catch you all next week. Have a wonderful week. Stay safe, have fun, and I'll catch you next time.